Close your eyes for a second and picture the you that exists a little farther down the road. Not louder, not more perfect, just calmer, clearer, deeper. That future self is not here to win an argument with your mind. They are not here to list reasons, build a plan, or prove anything. They are reaching back in a different language, the language of remembrance. The part of you that already knows, the part that went quiet because it learned to survive by overthinking, achieving, performing, pleasing, and maybe what you call motivation is actually that quiet knowing, trying to wake up. So let me ask you this. What if your future is not something you chase out there in the next goal, the next relationship, the next upgrade? What if it is a hand on your shoulder right now, inviting you back inside, not to pressure you, but to let you remember what has always been true in your body, to the truth you have been postponing? And here is what most people miss about real transformation. It does not arrive the day the world finally gets quieter. Your inbox might still be full. People might still be unpredictable. Life might still move too fast. The difference is that something in you becomes less movable. Your inner center starts to stabilize, not because you forced it, but because you begin to notice the small space between thoughts, the pause where you're not chasing an answer. In that space, nothing is being demanded of you. And yet, there is a strange sense of enoughness. You start to feel it in subtle ways. You respond a little slower, not out of indifference, but out of clarity. You do not explain yourself as much. You do not panic when a situation is unfinished. You can hold discomfort without turning it into an emergency. This is not emotional shutdown. It is emotional leadership. It is the shift from being pulled by every sound outside you to being guided by a steadier signal inside you. The mind still speaks, but it is no longer the only voice in the room, and a quiet mantra begins to form. Not as a motivational quote, but as a lived truth. I do not need to control everything to be safe. When that sentence lands in your body, you realize the point was never to eliminate the noise. The point was to become the place in you that the noise cannot steal. And then you enter the part almost no one warns you about the in-between. You are not who you used to be, but you do not feel like the new version yet either. The old motivations stop working. The old roles feel tight. The old ways of proving yourself lose their flavor. And because you cannot point to a clear outcome, your mind tries to label it as delay, confusion, failure. But this is not a wrong turn. It is a corridor, a transitional hallway between identities. It is meant to feel strange because the self you were is dissolving, and the self you are becoming is still forming. Silence shows up here, and it can feel like emptiness. If you are used to progress, you can measure. But this quiet is not absence. It is construction. Under the surface, your system is reorganizing. Beliefs you inherited are loosening. Patterns that once kept you safe are losing their authority. Habits fall away before replacements arrive. And that gap can feel like standing still, even when something very real is happening. This is why the middle is so tender. Your brain is wired to seek visible evidence, to demand a timeline, to turn the unknown into a problem. Yet deep change often moves like roots. It happens in darkness. It happens without applause. It happens while nothing on the outside seems to confirm it. So if you are here, if you feel suspended, unmotivated, oddly quiet, or like you cannot go back, but you cannot see forward, let this land. You are not lost. You are in the hallway. You are shedding a skin, and it is uncomfortable. Not because you are doing it wrong, but because you are doing it for real. This is where the urge to rush can become the very thing that interrupts the process. When you are in that hallway, the instinct is to force a breakthrough, to demand a sign, to push yourself back into motion so you can feel certain again. But you cannot pull a seed open and call it growth. If you pry it apart too early, you do not speed up the bloom. You damage the structure that was forming in secret. Readiness does not come from pressure. It comes from presence. from staying close to what is actually happening in you instead of arguing with it. The pause is not proof that you are broken. The pause is where strength gets gathered, where your system stops leaking energy into performance and starts collecting it into something steadier. You may notice it in ways that look almost ordinary. A deeper exhale, a longer night of sleep, a moment where you choose not to explain yourself, a quiet no that does not come with guilt. These are not small things. They are signs that you are rooting. And rooting is not dramatic. It is subtle. It is slow. It is sacred in the most practical sense. So if you feel like nothing is happening, consider this possibility. You're not stuck. You are germinating. And the work right now is not to force the flower. The work is to keep showing up gently in the soil of this moment until your own timing says now. And as you stop forcing the seed, something else becomes possible. You begin to hear the difference between noise and knowing. Noise is the mental static that sounds urgent and complicated. It rehearses conversations, predicts disasters, builds cases, and demands certainty before you move. It is persuasive because it is loud. Knowing is different. Knowing is quiet, simple, almost unimpressive. It does not argue. It does not need a 20-step plan. It rarely gives you the whole map. It gives you one honest sentence, and it lands in your body like truth. You might notice it as small fragments that arrive without effort. Don't rush, breathe. You're okay, not this. And the more you slow down, the more you realize that transformation is not about collecting more information. It is about refining your signal. Noise pulls you into the future and makes the present feel intolerable. Knowing returns you to the present and makes the next step feel doable. One way to tell the difference is physiological noise tightens the chest, speeds the mind, and makes you feel like you have to earn relief. Knowing softens something in you. Even if the decision is hard, it creates a clean kind of clarity, not a frantic one. And this is the real skill you are developing. In the hallway, you're learning that you do not need every answer. You need the next right step. Your intuition does not shout to compete with the world. It waits for you to create enough inner quiet to hear it. And when you finally do, it feels less like receiving new information and more like remembering what you already knew. And once you can hear that quieter signal, a new relationship with time begins to form. Because the mind still wants to ask, when? When will it click? When will I feel like myself? When will the door open? That question can be innocent, but it can also be a disguised form of panic, a way of trying to control the unknown. Divine timing, in the grounded sense, is not a promise that life will hand you what you want while you sit back and wait. It is the recognition that there is an order to things that is not always visible to the thinking mind. Some things cannot arrive until you have the capacity to hold them. Some opportunities require a version of you that is steady enough not to abandon yourself the moment it gets intense. And this is where synchronicity becomes more meaningful than speed. You start to notice how the right conversation finds you without chasing. How an idea repeats itself in different places. How a door opens with less friction than you expected. Not because you forced it, but because you met it at the right internal frequency. The pace might look slow from the outside, but inside, it feels precise. And the more you trust that precision, the less you catastrophize the pauses. You stop treating slowness as evidence that you are behind. You begin to sense that some things come later because they are not being delayed. They are being layered. They are being prepared, not just in the world, but in you. So you do not need to know the exact date. You only need to keep listening for alignment and to let timing reveal itself through the quiet yes that arrives when you are truly ready. And from that trust, something mature begins to replace forcing allowance. People misunderstand this word. They hear it and think it means giving up, being passive, letting life do whatever it wants. But allowance is not collapse. It is a conscious loosening of the grip. It is choosing to stop wrestling reality into the shape your fear demands, and instead meeting life with an open hand and a steady spine. Because so many of us were trained to earn our worth through effort, to overfunction, to prove we deserve love, safety, success by trying harder than anyone asked us to. And that pattern can look like discipline, but underneath it is often a nervous system that does not believe it is already enough. Allowance is the moment you stop paying for peace with exhaustion. It is when you notice yourself reaching for control and you gently ask, is this alignment or is this anxiety? And then you choose the aligned path, even if it is quieter. In real life, it looks like not sending the text just to get a response. It looks like not over-explaining your boundaries so someone will approve of them. It looks like not forcing positivity while grief is still moving through you. It looks like letting your no be clean and letting your yes be honest. This is not laziness. This is integrity. Allowance is an action of someone who trusts their timing and respects their energy. And when you live from that place, you stop hunting for value outside yourself. You start making choices from resonance, from coherence, from what feels true in your body. There is less self-betrayal, less performance, more clarity, and strangely, more movement. Because energy is no longer wasted on trying to become acceptable. It is used to become real. And this is where the story closes in the most honest way. Becoming is not the process of turning into someone else. It is the process of remembering who you were before the pressure trained you to abandon your own rhythm, before achievement became your proof of worth, before pleasing became your strategy for staying connected. What you are doing right now, even if it looks slow, is a return to the part of you that knows how to be present without performing, to choose without apologizing, to breathe without earning it. So if you have been judging yourself for being in the hallway, let that judgment soften. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are opening in the order your life can actually hold. And your future self is not standing at the finish line demanding more. They are here in this moment, placing a steady hand on your shoulder, reminding you that the quiet you are learning is power. If you are in that in-between space, and something in you recognizes these words, leave a simple note in the comments. Just say, I'm opening.